All right, everybody. How is it going today? We are Gaming Over 30, where we talk about the things that we used to do all our lives and how we still managed to do them again. My name is DuShaun Williams. Here's my co host, Christopher Moncada. And today, Chris, I do have a question for you.
What's
And
up?
that, well, nothing too much, but what do you think about collector's editions of video games?
I have a love-hate relationship with them. How
Tell
about
me
you?
more.
Um, let's see. I like collector's editions because I think they're really, really cool and stuff like that. I think nowadays a lot of them miss the mark because they come up with like cool ideas or kind of cool statues and stuff like that, but then they want to charge you a lot of money for them and then kind of reduce it and then like give you not even give you a disc for the thing. Like even though I'm not a collector of the discs and stuff like you are, like if I'm gonna pay for it, you, I I should at least. I honestly I should get a digital copy and a disc of it. You know what I mean? Kind of the both of them in a sense. In a sense, that might be a little bit much, but at least a disc for sure. Because like having just a digital copy of it kind of unwarranted, especially when you get like when you get those like hard cases. It's like, oh, I got the hard case, but nothing to put inside of it.
So I think you say a lot of the things we all say in the bottom of our hearts and stuff. It's just sometimes some stuff just don't add up a lot when it comes to collector's editions, but some of them can be really, really good. And that's kind of like what I kind of wanted to talk to today. You know me, I like to collect collector's editions of normally the games that I buy because I'm not buying 20 games in a year unless they're like all $5 to $10 a piece. But the games that do come out and stuff, do like to get the collector's edition. It has a good momentum to them. And I've also run into a lot of times where they just don't work. I mean, just some collector's editions are just terrible, but they charge premium prices for it. So I kind of want to just talk to about that today. Just kind of the collector's edition that you've seen me buy and kind of my feelings and your feelings and what we feel like need to be better about them, because I think you hit on a lot of good topics about it, of why like it's really hard to buy a collector's edition if you don't feel like it's gonna knock it out of the park. And even times when you do think it's gonna knock it out of the park, reality is sometimes harsher, but you don't that you just don't know until you actually have it in your hands. So and of course, the reason why bringing it up again is because I just got a few in the last 30 days. Like I've gotten a few, and it is because this is the time where games come out, like October, November. These are where the hard hitter, it's in fresh in everybody's mind type of games. Like almost everything before this kind of gets forgotten most of the time. And I just last night picked up Pokemon Violet, but because of FOMO and some other things, I ended up actually getting the dual version of the game, right? So I ended up getting both Scarlet and Violet, plus the codes and the pins and all the other like kind of extra stuff that kind of come with it. And it's only because I could do it at the time, but it was also one of those things where it's like I was literally the last person to get it that didn't pre-order it.
Oh wow.
So, as y'all seen like the little shorts and stuff that we posted, I posted it last night about kind of like my thing. A lot of people were actually picking up Pokemon and in where I live, which is kind of really out there. So it's still a popular game. People are still looking, still looking to be excited about it. And I saw a lot of people really change their mind on getting the single copy or the dual copy that they were getting and said, no, I want the actual dual pack. And so a lot of the GameStop employees last night were literally like, buy, refund, buy again, buy, refund, buy again, because they needed to make sure that they actually bought it with, because everybody pre-ordered it, but not everybody was able to pre-order the Pacific dual pack. Some of
Right.
them just had to get the two, but then they wouldn't get all the extra stuff that came with it. So I kind of got it, and I paid basically the same price as two games. I think when I thought about what I kind of got about it, I was like, it's not super
I
the
was gonna
thing
ask
to say.
because I remember I got the Sword and Shield dual pack. And so, what was the difference in this one this time?
So I don't remember what came in the Sword and Shield dual pack, but from like someone who had missed some earlier ones, the one thing I do like is that they basically give you both games.
Right.
So you have, and I can actually show it for the camera for people watching the video. So you get this, you get the double dual pack. There you go. Put it in my face. So you get it. It shows all the nice stuff, and it's like a thin box. It says double pack. The codes and everything for it are inside the box. But what's inside the box is actually two full copies. So instead of, and this is kind of what I was afraid of, or why I didn't get it before, because I didn't know it was actually two hard copies of the game. Um,
Yeah.
because I remember one in the past that I missed. They had actually put both games, I think, on a single cartridge. I think that was one of the older ones, and that one actually fetched a good price. And then sometimes with a lot of these other people this year, they're like, "Hey, we'll just give you the downloadable code and you download the game." And it's like, okay, don't want it. I really don't want the second part of that because I don't want the game kind of downloaded. I did that for Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, and I lost my mind because I thought I lost the game, but it was on the console the entire time.
No.
Like, I was just like, where is this game? And it was like, oh no, it was right there. It was like, shoot, this is why like digital content sometimes trip me up. But in this case, yeah, you just get both games. You get actually two codes for like 100 Pokeballs. So that you could probably just use for each one, but it doesn't say that you can only use it for one. So if you have one main one, you want 200 Pokeballs, throw it in there. But then like all your other pre-order stuff comes later. I don't. Oh, one of the pins. This was like one of the things that people were kind of sought after for both characters and stuff. So it's not a lot, and the only thing is like it's a fair value for the fact that you just kind of just bought both games.
Right.
And then they gave you stuff on top of it. But I was very happy that it was physical games and basically the original boxes. So if I did sell them to GameStop, there's no like special thing I have to do. I can just be like, here, give me my $5 because that's all you're going to pay me. And we'll go, kind of go on to the next thing. So it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, so far, this is kind of like my minimum positive when it comes to the collector's edition, right? This is just where it's like, okay, I got the physical copy, I got stuff on top of it. It's a clear value to money exchange. I'm getting more value than cost. Even though it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I can argue still that it's not that big of a deal, right? It's like not like I'm getting some buku cool stuff and a big statue, but I can't say that I was shafted out of money because then that'd be
Right.
false in that case.
I think the only difference I would complain about this dual pack compared to when I got Sword and Shield was instead of codes for 100 Pokeballs, you got codes for at least two different Pokemon, and so you could use one code for one game, one code for the other, which I
Yeah.
thought was kind of a cool thing because you didn't get you like any super rare Pokemon stuff like that, but it was cool. It was the one that turns into the Tyrannosaurus Rex one, and then the one that turns into like the
Oh, the
Brachiosaurus.
fossils.
Yeah. So it
Yeah.
gave you one of each of those. So that way, like that's a cool thing. For I paid 120, got the two physical games. This one I didn't get pins, but I got the code for those two Pokemon stuff like that. So I like the dual packs because since I got my son into Pokemon, it's like I'll usually go out for the dual packs. It's just get them 2 for 1, don't have to worry about it. And then having the code is like, okay, which one do you want? Which dinosaur do you want? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the
Which
Pokeball
is
thing is
fair.
kind of down.
Yeah. So which is fair, and I think arguably that's probably a better value getting Pokemon. I know I'm not sure if it has anything to do with the dual pack, but I know that special Pikachu that knows fly and all that. I know that's supposed to come out, but I'm not sure if that's just for anybody who actually buys and plays the game within a certain time frame, or you did something like this. I didn't see another code for that. Unless it's on the receipt. I wasn't any wiser to it. But that's probably like the only thing I probably would have said would have been close to that. So yeah, like this one is just like you were already, because we're in the United States, you were already kind of getting some items and stuff from the pre-order by itself. And then I think 100 Pokeballs are, I think it's good because you don't have to like really spend money at the beginning of the game at that point, but
True.
you can't actually check out or go get the 100 Pokeballs until you get to the first Pokemon Center. So like you'll be catching before then for like some cases of how the game plays through, but just know that don't if you do get the thing, don't buy anything. It's like you're gonna get a ton of them. You don't need to buy them at that point. So yeah, that was pretty interesting. So like I said, we'll call that as a baseline for this year.
Yeah.
Did I get A? Did I get a physical copy? B? Did I get a physical case? And then C, like, does the value actually exceed the proposition? So
Or even
why
just
do
equal it. You know what I mean?
yeah, at least equal it. So, of course, like, why do I say that? Well, let's see. The one I got before this one was God of War. Um, I didn't have it pre-ordered this time, but the God of War Collector's Edition is actually available to get. You can actually still get the regular Collector's Edition. It's the Jotnir one or whatever it's called. I can't even say the name. That is the one that's kind of elusive. Like every time I try to get it, it's like gone in a second, even though the system says, "Don't worry, it's there. You're just not getting it." But it's just one of those things where it's like you see it and it's like, yeah, you see the price, and it's only like a $80, $70 difference than the collector's edition. But I mean, so whatever. The good thing I liked about both of them, they weren't like entirely expensive. One's 200, the other one's 270. Um, but what comes in these is basically for both of them, you'll get actual Thor's axe, like as the actual life size hammer. And I don't have it out yet, just because I might still try to go get the other version. So I really don't want to open that yet. But technically, you'll get like the axe for Thor's hammer. But in the other one, you get actual vinyl, and it's like, oh, I never owned a vinyl. That's
Hmm.
dope. That's what that's cool. And then you get more digital content. You get a lot of other stuff. So I'm okay. I look at $200, right? I minus $60 immediately for the game. So that means that the digital content plus Thor's hammer and all that is $140. And I think we can actually just kind of pull that up so that way we kind of like show it to everybody. Just looking at it. Actually, let me do it for Amazon. Amazon. Actually, I'll give
Amazon,
you do GameStop.
GameStop. Hey, shout out to that video and having those people at GameStop. That impressed me.
But
That there were so many people there at a GameStop.
oh, mm-hmm.
They're not
It's
fully
good.
dead yet.
I was kind of happy about that. Just seeing so many people kind of just waiting and all that. There were a good amount of people who had already prepaid for everything. That was kind of great.
Nice, that's great.
Let's
Shout
see.
out to GameStop. People shit on it too often.
And it's still alive.
Yeah.
Okay. User reviews are not too happy about it.
Uh-oh.
But let's see. So let's kind of go over context. Let me 1, 2, 3. Share this out with the homies.
The homies. The Bears. For any of you football fans.
How many do we have those as gamers?
There's them out there. I'm one of them.
So it's easier to do it with pictures because the reading
Yeah.
stuff is hard, you know. So yeah, so you get some dice. So this is the $200 one. So this is the cheaper of the two. So you'll
Okay.
get the actual 16-inch Thor's hammer. I'm not going to say that name. This
Mjolnir.
box, which is basically just I think the box itself, which it looks cool. But it's probably after you take off the big box. You get the steel case. Okay. No game discs included. You get these two twin vinyl carvings, probably something in the game. And then you get digital content. So you get some other power-ups, some other stuff that you'll probably use from the get-go. One thing I will say about this one, I think you get both the PS4 and the PS5 version. So
That's interesting.
So you're supposed to get the digital for both. So full game for PS4 and PS5. You get the Avatar set for PlayStation. Dark Horse digital mini art book. PlayStation 4 theme. Official God of War Ragnarok digital soundtrack. So those are all the digital stuff. So it just sucks that part of the digital stuff is the game. So that means that I
Yeah.
don't have a disc to put it in there, and I have to now host the entire thing on the console. That's where I start taking off points, because it's like, again, I think we talked about it. Why give me this if I can't put anything in it?
Yeah, it's something that baffles my mind. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
one, I believe if you're buying like a collector's edition, the idea is to have a physical thing of something, right? So when you have this physical object, why am I not gonna get the physical game? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I guess to me, maybe I'm just not thinking, big brain about it too much. But I feel like it's a simple concept. Like if you charge me $60 for a game, then I should have the physical thing, because that's how much it would have cost if I didn't do this at all. And I would have had the physical digital
Well,
content and
this is
physical
PS5, so
content.
it'd be 70 now.
Yeah, maybe some places. Honestly, all you have to do is go to Walmart. Walmart's always going to cheap it down by $10. And then most of the time, like, they're normally 60. Like, I'm still not, with the whole $70 thing either. But that's kind of a different conversation. But either
For sure.
or, I'm still not getting. I paid for a physical and I didn't get a physical. And there's just, in a lot of cases, there are a lot of problems with that. We talked about it last time about, about how services, if you buy a lot of digital services, and you could be just shot out of it, not be able to get any of your money back if they close it out, or, something happens to your account, all your stuff is gone. So it's one of those things that you can never play it offline, or I mean, you could play it offline, but you can't play it if you need to log in, blah, 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 stuff like that. So I'm always kind of shun that no matter what. So in this case, it's like, yeah, that's a hit for me, because I do want physical copies. And if you
Hmm.
were gonna sell it, you can't, right? Like, when you get these collector's editions, you own it. You don't have an option at this point. And I mean, for me, maybe because I don't really sell a lot of my video games, is probably why I've kind of accepted to it, but that doesn't mean I like it. I think that's kind of what I say a lot of this is like, just because I'm okay with it, that doesn't mean I like it. It just means I'm just one of those people that might just do that trade off.
It just still baffles my mind to have a steel case and no disc to put in it. Like
Hmm.
it just to me it just makes absolutely no sense and whatever. It's like getting the soundtrack of something and they're sending you the cover of the vinyl of it, but you don't actually have the vinyl for like a musical artist you like. It's like, well, what's the point?
Yeah. And then this kind of like clinches it here, right? Like, full game, PS4, PS5, printed voucher. So it's also, if the voucher don't work, uh, try to have an argument with Amazon with that. Um, but that's the cheaper one, right? So you minus $60. What do you feel? Do you feel like, that $200, that's good? Life size replica, got some dice, got some figures, got a good amount of digital content. Does that
I say
equal
it's fair.
140, $130?
I say that's fair because how big is the hammer?
16 inches, so about like a foot and a third, or foot and a fourth.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So,
It's decent size. Is the quality of it worth it?
I haven't opened it, so I wouldn't be able to
Okay,
show you. So I might just do a short so people can check it out and stuff. But it's just one thing, I didn't want to break the seal if I did have to return it. So,
got you. Yeah.
and that's because I wanted to look at this guy. So, like always, what comes from the bottom is included into the top. You get your hammer, get your figures, get all this, and you get a few little things. So, you get this ring. That's probably, iconic. I think you also get different colored dye. That's a little bit different. Everything on here is the same. You're not getting the physical copy in this one either. You just gotta have to accept it. But you do get
Hmm.
an actual 7-inch vinyl record, which to me is probably the coolest thing. And that's in this thing. That's like, okay, you know what? Getting the digital soundtrack that will be lost in time. Yeah, it's whatever. But getting an actual full vinyl that you can actually play, that means I can use my home theater system to play it. Like, I could get like a thing and tie it to some speakers and really rock out. Because one thing I have heard, this game is really good when it comes to this, audio quality and stuff.
Heck yeah! As you're cleaning the house, you and your wife are cleaning it. You could be just having the God of War boss band music going on in the background.
Pretty much, it's as similar as having a Halo theme just comes on out of nowhere and everybody stops to sing it. You just have that just playing in the background at full volume. But so yeah, that and then you got these pin sets. So you get a little bit more physical stuff, I will say that. So for an extra $70 or $60 looks like that you will actually get some physical stuff that if you can take advantage of them, they're nice. Some of them they'll probably be on the side of a backpack, on a pin wall or something like that. But I argue if something gives you something very different, I think it gives some bonus points because not a lot of stuff will
Yeah.
give you an actual vinyl.
Yeah, that's super dope. It's interesting that it's on a 7-inch, but I'm guessing there's not that many tracks on it.
Probably. I mean, it's probably just like a lot of the background stuff and all that. A lot of digital soundtracks or OSTs for games are not really all that big because,
Mm-mm.
especially for like most things, you got the battle theme, you got the walk theme, you got the how many cities are in a thing. So
And each one's usually like around 2 to 3 minutes. It's very rare that one's going to be like
yeah.
a 5, 6, 10 minute song.
But for sure, it's a nice display item. Like it's that it is. I mean, just looking at it, it looks something really cool. Would be nice to have and stuff like that. That's why I've been kind of holding out a little bit in case I beat the whatever bot I'm fighting against for like a second.
Yeah.
So, because I mean, at this point, an extra $60 for that is okay with me since I've already committed to like the first half. But what do you feel about this version of Legends Edition?
I like this one better, especially due to the fact that the vinyl is like colored vinyl. It's not like your just standard black one.
Hmm.
So that's like really, really cool, man. That's something you just don't see very often anymore. And vinyls kind of become more of an in thing nowadays and stuff like that, which I appreciate because it does give you good quality of sound. And no matter how many people try to argue the sound quality off of like Spotify and stuff like that, it's still just not up to par having on certain items when it comes to physicality. So
When you
I dig
become
it.
an audiophile, yeah, like at that point, you can't really say Spotify does anything for you. But it is one of those things where it's just an easy way to listen to music. And a lot of people don't need high end audio, but when there's something for the enthusiast, the guy who wants to sit in the chair and just be surrounded by music, it's good that somebody is being serviced in that way.
With your scotch in your hand with the big cube in it, just
Yeah, you're just going like, yeah. So it is one of those things. It's nice, and like I said, like I give extra points for it being different. I don't give too much extra points for the hammer because it's kind of like the Assassin's Creed blade. Like they don't normally give it in a collector's edition, but that's kind of like similar. It's nice, so it kind of tells me that Thor is a big important part of this game for them to have the hammer, but not like Kratos' axe for one, but cool, whatever. Like I'm here for it. I like it and it's good. This is probably one of the ones that I'm like, okay, this in a case does provide a little bit of value. It's just I have to eat the fact that I don't have the physical copies with the game.
yeah,
I do like the fact that I do get both versions. 'Cause I think if it was on Xbox, it would just be the one, but most Xbox titles work on either or. So no one makes like a 360 version anymore. Normally, if you're at least Xbox One, they're gonna work for any console no matter what you do. So it's just
yeah.
about adding it to the con. So this is pretty good.
I think it's a good idea too because there's still a lot of people out there that don't have PS5s, and then did people? I mean, Sony wants this game to be played and sell a lot, so it's like, well, let's include the PS4 version. That way, you know what I mean. We can get that also audience to try and buy the special collectors instead of just the PS5. Then if it was only for the PS5 people, it would kind of give that elitism feeling because like only
Mhm.
like because you're the only one that gets a PS5 and you're the only one who can afford this type of collector's edition. So that's good on them. Very, very smart.
And they did release more PS5s with God of War, and I know a
Yeah.
lot of people, especially on Facebook, were actually able to get a PS5 with that because it's like, oh, I could definitely get a PS5 and then get what's arguably probably one of the best games for the console. Like it's
Hmm.
kind of like you were gonna pay $60 anyway. I don't think it's not gonna like eat you. So I think it's nice, and I think that's probably the only time we can have like a fair argument for that. But most of the time, it like even now, it's like it's still a bitter pill because how the thing worked, you could have easily got the PS4 version and they gave you the code for the PS5 upgrade. That could have been, they could have did that too, but at least you would have had a disc. So
Yeah.
that's the only thing. So this one is arguably okay. Like there's nothing too offensive about it. You know, I think the 260 price and the $200 price, I think are kind of fair. In the way that like, okay, I can kind of make some concessions. There's some cool stuff that I would love to display. And there's some stuff that, you know, I might actually use. The dice might come in handy when we're trying to play Monopoly or something. So
For sure. It's always
they're
nice to
just
have different guys, you know what I mean?
yeah. So I'm okay with that. This is one of those ones where like I don't feel bad buying it. So even if I don't get this version, I don't feel bad for the $200 version because then the $200 version, you know, is fair. Like I was like, okay, I didn't spend that much, and it's not my most expensive one this year. So that's the one that I kind of want to talk about now and see what your opinion on that. So I think we did talk about it.
Everyone's
Uh,
favorite.
let's see. Okay, so here they actually have it out of stock, but I've been able to see this on stock on a lot of different websites. So this is Gotham Knights Collector's Edition. What do we have in here? So for $300, you do get the physical game, or it should. If I remember, I did get the physical game, and it's the deluxe version. So this is arguably the $80-$90 version of the
Right.
game. So it comes with its own special content as well as the disc itself. It does come with, you know, a booklet. It comes with the key pin. I'm still trying to figure all that out.
Okay.
Does come with the map, which I'm back and forth on maps in collector's editions personally. Like I don't see a point in them outside of the picture on the other side of it. And then of
If
course
you're a
you
map
get a
guy,
lot of the
it
premium game
works.
content. Yeah. So and of course you get a lot of the in-game content. But the biggest thing that you get out of this is the figure in the middle of the screen. So this is literally the box size is literally catering around this figure.
Right, to protect it.
Um, but it is not as big as you think. Like it actually, the box is definitely smaller than the God of War one over here. Just not as boxy, of course, but it is definitely smaller. The figures are also smaller. Now, of course I can't compare to the hammer because I haven't taken it out. This guy, I think it takes a quality hit personally. I think it's nice from far away and it looks okay in this picture, but definitely close up is not as impressive.
And
Um,
those things you can kind of definitely notice too, like for you and I, who are people who like to collect figures and stuff like that and put them up. Like there's so many good anime figures out there and stuff like that, and even game figures, which are usually more expensive just because of like the companies they used to have them make. But so it's easy to tell when it's like a good quality figure or if it's like a really bad one by the way it's cut, by the way the design is, the way the freaking accents are and stuff like that when it comes to what's on the body. Because like I had my sexy Nightwing
mhm.
figure, and I could tell right now that figure compared to the one I could see just on the screen from here, it's just a 10 times better quality, and I paid not nowhere near the price. I think I paid $80 for mine. I just had to
Yeah.
wait 2 months since it came from Japan. You know what I mean? So, but it's like,
Yeah, let's do a price comparison. So this is $300. If we minus 90, we'll be fair, minus $90 from that, everything else in here is $210. That means the figure, the key, and arguably probably the art book, I believe, and the map.
I'm about to say, don't forget the map.
I can't forget the map. No, but all of that they have value to be $210. These things cannot light up. The weapons actually come separate, so you have to put the weapons in their hands. It
Okay,
is a
that's fair.
pain in the butt to do because you have to force it through their hands. It was very annoying. Like Laura couldn't do it at all, and then like I would just basically just get in there. It's like he's like, oh Jesus. Even it tells you what side to put them in, and it's a battle to try and get these weapons in their hands. But I did it, and I at least have confidence that they are not popping out.
Does it say in the description the size of it? Or I guess I could probably look it up online.
I want to say, let's see, um, city map exclusive, or it it does not. You probably have to go on Amazon or something. Um,
Hmm.
so before
You
I
have
kind of give you,
that one out of the box, right?
huh?
You have that one out of the box, like at home.
Yeah.
What's just you don't have to bring anything, but just like an eyeballing phase. Like how big do you think it is?
Oh, the figure's like this. If I had to be kind of fair, like the figure's like this.
Okay,
I can hold it like it's a bowl, basically.
gotcha.
So before I kind of give you my feelings on it, presented, what do you think?
I don't know how I feel about the figures because I've paid less for more in figures. Like
Mhm.
my Levi figure was very similar, where it's probably as big as this figure, and I think I paid 150 for it. But it was the same thing too, where like you attached the wires for the gear, and you
Mhm.
attached the swords into his hands, stuff like that, and then the cape was unattached and everything. And those were pretty cool because it wasn't super hard to attach them in there. It was like pretty easy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the quality of it and stuff like looking at Batgirl's hair and stuff like that, like oh dude, Levi's hair on my figure was just like lovely, beautiful. You know what I mean? Like it's just cut so well and everything.
Yeah.
And like for this, just looking at the quality now on my screen, it's like that would probably stop me from wanting to purchase it.
Yeah. So, and I think that's a good point. So, just so my feelings on it, I almost returned the entire thing. I still in my mind feel like I want to return it. And that's mainly also my feelings on the game itself. Like I want to try to keep playing it, but now it's off the table because God of War's out, Pokemon's out, and new events for Epic 7 are out. So right now it's off the table. Like it's going on the shelf for a little bit. Um, but this thing I don't think could survive a flight of stairs 5 feet down. Like it's really light. It almost feels hollow.
Okay.
But it'd be fine if it was. Like I'm not hitting it for that. It's just definitely like you said. I have to say this thing would be like $200 because honestly, the other stuff I don't think are you even at a mall price you can get it for $10 or less.
Yeah, there's no way I'm
Um,
gonna pay $50 for one pin, a map, and a small art booklet. You know what I mean?
yeah. So arguably, let's say the figure was $200. It's nowhere near it. Like you said, I don't collect as many kind of the figures, especially like the high end anime ones. But even like the ones that I got on sale, I got a vastly cheaper than what this would have cost. And yeah, it's almost felt like I got the Wish version of it.
Oh no, don't say
And that's
that.
I mean
That hurts my
it's kind of
soul.
close. It's it sucks, but like when you see like Robin's face and Nightwing's face is almost very similar. Like
Yeah,
they just didn't even bother to have any like distinction between the faces. Like I said, like I feel like the poses and stuff, what they do, I think is pretty dope. And like I said, from the far view, it looks really nice in the game room. It's just like, yeah, like the Batman ones prior probably felt somewhat similar, but just look more grand, personally.
yeah,
So,
that sucks. Especially because Nightwing's my boy, man. You can't do that to him. He's too good looking, and I look. All right,
you want me to
I'm
calm
gonna say
down
this.
over there.
I'm gonna say this right now, guys. Like looking at this figure, you definitely could tell that they did not do service for Nightwing's butt. Everybody knows that Nightwing has one of the most prettiest, glorious butts in the world. My figure that I had definitely gave it its due. This one does not. I can
Yeah.
already tell.
And you know what? I didn't pay attention that close, but I will say that if I needed if you were asking if he's flat, he is definitely is. I guess I will leave it at that for that one. But as you understand, there's ups and downs, right? So this one is probably more my down. Like is arguably probably my most expensive one all year, and it just didn't. Outside of the fact that it did give me a physical copy, and gave me the physical copy of the digital version, which I do appreciate. It's like almost the opposite. It's not really a unique piece. Like I do expect a figure at this price, and I'd be very upset if I didn't get a figure plus $200.
Yeah.
Um, but it's not like a unique piece. It's not a vinyl. It's not um a drone or something crazy like that. Because Call of Duty has some crazy collector's editions sometimes. You get a
Yeah, they
full on
took out of
night
the point.
glasses and stuff. But so it's not something that's like, oh, it's not practical as well as it doesn't really light up or anything. So it's one of those argument ones that's like if I met you in the store and I saw you were about to buy it, I may intervene.
They're like, excuse me, sir, are you about to buy this?
Yeah. So
Oh,
I
snap.
may intervene. And normally I wouldn't care, but it is something I do have to say. Like I probably would intervene, like learn from my mistake. Because I'm still trying my best to learn from it.
Question: is this if you get the PS5 edition, is it cost the same amount?
Yeah. The only one that's cheaper is the PC version.
Okay,
But
I'm
it's
just
like
wondering just because
$10.
I'm just wondering because of the whole $70 to $60 for the two systems.
Yeah.
I was wondering if maybe they might. I don't think it would affect it in these collector's editions, but it's just a thought that came into my head, so I might as well ask it.
Yeah. No, and it's fair, right? Because I could easily do that. Just PS5 collectors. Oh, see, I can even purchase it. I
Oh,
can still
nice.
buy it. See, and this is a good um point when it comes to knowing whether or not people like this collector's edition or not. Sometimes that you could still buy it.
Yeah.
Like it came out October 25th. It is the 18th now. Welcome to the 16th show of the series. You could still
Woo-hoo.
buy this. It's like, and I couldn't find the PS5 version before, the Switch out until like way later when I was able to secure the Xbox version. So the fact that it was sold out and then it's either people just canceled their collector's editions and then all of a sudden they just have like an overflow market of them or something else. But it's like one of those things where I probably could have waited if eBay would have sold them later.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I see this. Like, just wasn't. I think this didn't just meet a lot of people's standards, especially for the cost. But I think really it was the games rating that probably killed it the most. To be fair, but this is a lot because
That is
you
a lot.
know, no matter what people say about Assassin's Creed, like I have a hard time getting their collector's editions if I don't get it when they're announced.
So 300 is a lot for me. Like that would definitely say no to that one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, especially like okay, so I'm looking it up because I know we brought this up I think in the past last week,
Hmm.
but it's good. It's a good thing for. And I was even looking at it on Amazon. So the Cyberpunk 2077 Collector's Edition, right?
Yeah.
It came out at 250, so $50 less than this, and it came with a map, a world compendium, postcards of Night City. It came with a pack of stickers. It came with a sticker bomb set. It came with a VTech metal keychain. It came with a guide to Night City, and it came with the collectible steelbook, and it came with the freaking the figure, which is a way better quality figure because I've seen that one in person. So
Yeah.
like, go ahead.
I wish it was on here.
I can
Because
find it on Amazon.
so I did buy that, and the figure on that one is a night and day figure, and it's
Yeah,
cool. I mean, it's basically a figure of him ramming a bike into someone's chest while shooting people out. That is a pretty dope figure, if I do say so myself. So, I don't have it on here. It doesn't show it here. I'll probably have to
yeah.
order it some other way.
Amazon has it. That's
Yeah.
where I found it. But I'm like, yeah, that's $50 less than this one. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
you get way more, and you get I think like the art. You get a hardcover art book for one.
You can get the console for less. The limited edition bundled 1 terabyte console. Even at his main price, it was $280.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. It's just when the values don't kind of equal, then you start. This is where buyer's remorse come from. This is buyer's remorse in the flesh. So
This is the one where your significant other probably gets upset
yeah.
of you about once you find
And
out.
I mean, well, Laura didn't like this at all. Like she's like, no, this was terrible. You do need to return it. Like she normally doesn't really argue with me about that much, but this is one of those things where she's like, yeah, I think you really should return it. So, but yeah, the Cyberpunk one was phenomenal. Even the case that it came with was like
Yeah.
almost like a
whole
suitcase
thing.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So even like in the collector's book and all that was thick. Like it was
Yeah.
a big thing. It like I was super happy about getting it. So let's see. So when it comes to collector's editions, there are some key categories like that for me make it worth the money. Obviously for the people out there, I would only suggest you buy collector's editions for games that you really enjoy. Don't buy it for every single game because not every single game, like it's just a lot of money. I only do it because I can, and normally I put money way ahead, so I'm not just dumping, $200, $300 at every given point. So I might put in money, and that's what I do for GameStop. I'll buy games, I'll get those $50 or those points to get the $50, and I'll use that because it's to me that's easier. Like
Smart.
once I plan it, then all this is not really like an expensive thing. Even like the new Assassin's Creed, I think the one coming the next year is like $150, $160. And that one comes with
really?
a figure. So that one's already done.
Really?
I don't have to worry about it. I'm just waiting for it to come in. So I like normally you just kind of plan for stuff and it's not a big deal. But that doesn't mean they can't suck. And so
Yeah.
this is one of those ones that it's not Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk was dope. The other one, it kind of really sucked in that aspect. Now probably let me see. If I could bring it up because this is so far the best figure I got this year from any game. And
Oh,
that's when
that's
I was
right. The
able to
Horizon.
yeah, and that's when I was able to actually get the Regalia edition. So this one comes with two. So let's go with the cheaper one. Just to kind of so you can kind of see it. So each one comes with like different statues. Probably the only thing I don't like, or that I kind of like and don't like, that they do come with different statues, but they're different in ways of like their aesthetics, and I'll show you that in a minute. So
Okay.
for $200, you get the statue of the Tremor Tusk with Aloy to kind of have that size comparison. And this is a
Oh, you
big
actually so you
statue.
get 2 figures.
Yeah. So this is a
That's
big
dope.
statue, just to let you know. Like if like I have it in the corner of the game room by itself. It's a big statue. Um for people who probably bought like the Final Fantasy VII collector's edition with Cloud and the bike, it's bigger than
Yeah.
that. Just
Dang.
for like just so context. Which that was also a very good collector's edition, especially because those toys are basically made like for the people who make the actual stuff. So it's basically buying that with your game. But this one
Right.
comes with the digital content. This one was physical, I believe. Like this one was the physical came with full game for PS4 and PS5. Does come with the hard disk. Or not hard disk, the hard case. Does come with a lot of like special stuff that you get to utilize, but you quickly don't really need them for the rest of the game. And of course, art book and all that other jazz. So full
Yeah.
game, steel book, display case, overview of tips, blah blah blah. So this was mostly, I would still say, it's mostly figure, because I don't think they had a deluxe edition version of the game. I just see like the special one, but I think sometimes they just come with like extra stuff for like launch. But you get like some of the other things that you could utilize: packs, digital content, digital soundtrack, some of the armor that looks pretty decent, for what they are. They just don't really have a lot of stuff to go with it. And then Yeah, I like the mini art books. I like full size art books better, just because I like full pictures and stuff. These things kind of get lost a little bit easier, but whatever, right? So for $200, I minus 60 again for it, so I have 140. I
Right.
would say this is close to a good looking figure for $200 because, like you said, you get the smaller one too. But this is a very good collector's edition. And normally, if the box is like the more expensive one,
Yeah.
the inside of the box kind of gives you like a 3D thing around it, to make it look like it's kind of like in like a setting in a way.
Okay.
And the collector's edition comes from the bottom, like it's like a slide out for like the case and the collector's um art book. So the whole thing could be a standee by itself, is what I'm trying to say. Once you
Oh
kind of
shoot,
just
that's cool.
once you kind of get rid of this thing, then it's its own standee.
Yeah.
But this is a very big thing. This is for the cheaper one. So the one that I ended up getting, which like thank God I was able to get it, we're still looking at $260. So this is the price of the God of War one. So cheaper than Gotham Knights.
Right.
And what they did for this guy was they gave you a very special version of
Oh
the
shoot,
Tremor
I'm looking
Tusk.
at it right now.
Yeah. So this is the one where basically instead of just the machine by itself, it's actually the one that gets ridden by the enemies. So it looks a little bit more of like the comparison between the two. Very crazy thing. I actually had to put the tusk on this thing. It was actually has movable parts.
That's dope.
And this was a very, very sizable collector's for a collector figure. And you kind of see the boxes are a little bit different. You get some more kind of art cards and stuff like that. But in this case, the thing that you'll probably like the most was the replica focus stand little thing, the thing that you actually put like by the earlobe or whatever that goes in
Yeah.
the game, and then like, updated stuff, digital content, all that's the same. So for another, I'm still gonna say for another $60, you get a more upgraded version of the same figure plus a little bit more physical stuff.
Yeah, that's dope.
So I will say to me, this was this year the best figure that I got.
You
Just
think this may be a question that we might have to look into, but you think first parties try to do a better job with the collector's editions than like third party ones?
not really.
No, it just depends on who it is.
Yeah, it really depends on who it is. Because how do I say it? They do need to sell this game, but they sell it enough just by make sure it's one of the most promoted games. Now, this year is pretty big for PlayStation, having
Oh
this at
yeah.
the beginning of the year and then having Ragnarok at the end of the year. So they're big, they're pretty big titles, but they're kind of, I would say, probably console selling titles, if
Oh,
anything.
yeah. There's
Um,
they're two of their marquees, and then you even had a Gran Turismo during kind of a month or two after this one.
mhm.
They came out too, so
But if I were to go back to like the Final Fantasy VII one, you get Cloud on the bike. Like that's kind of when you kind of say it like that, it's like that bike's wheels actually move. You can actually go zoom zoom with it. And the figure is posable, which is not something like this can do. It's not you could pose the tusk, you could pose the kind of like the horns and everything, but you can't pose the full body. While the Cloud one, you can pose the entire thing.
dang.
So that's really kind of hard, and that's around the same price. So it really depends on how big the title is for the company. Pretty much all the FromSoft Demon Souls games. Like I got the one for Sekiro, which I
Mhm.
think it was pretty nice. It was small, and I didn't pre-order it either. I actually hunt it down. I kind of liked it because I did kind of like the figure of him with the sword, and actually comes with like a little. If you pre-ordered it, it comes with like a little like standy sword that's a box cutter. And
Okay.
they actually had extras, so I was able to still get it. And that looked pretty dope for like $100 and something. It was actually way cheaper than the cheap one on this one. So it was actually nice, because I'm thinking like, okay, half of it is game, half of it is figure, and they don't break the bank. So I was okay with that one. This one I was saying I didn't regret it at all. It looks really nice. I Now that the game room's kind of halfway done, I'm able to actually display it. for a long
Yeah.
time. I've been wanting to just play it for a while, and it looks really good. And I think I'll probably like share pictures of it later. But and so in this year, I would say like I probably bought like 4 collector's editions. And of course, because of gaming quarter, like most of them are on the fourth quarter, third quarter kind of thing. And my feelings on collector's editions is kind of the same every year. Um, they are hit and miss because they could be fantastic. I even liked my Persona ones. I think one of them I had a full on backpack, and we
Mhm.
were actually able to use the case to kind of hide stuff. Because sometimes they come in very sturdy cases, and you're like, "Hey, I can actually put away stuff with this and put it in the back or whatever." Some will come really nice. Some will come with plushies. You know, they're normally small, like Kingdom Hearts 3 came with the plushie, and then like the 3-figure opposables of the 3 characters with stands and all that. That's pretty dope. But there I have gotten a lot of misses from a lot of collector's edition. And unfortunately, you just don't know. That my biggest problem with the collector's edition is they don't put out enough sometimes, and then when you find out whether they're good or not, it's a lot of times too late. Especially when they're sold by the company and not by a store.
Yeah.
Probably biggest pet peeve is if I buy it from like Ubisoft and it sucks, it's hard to argue with Ubisoft. They need to take this shit back.
Yeah.
But like Amazon, like I said, now that we're in like holiday session, then I pretty much have till January 31st to return anything because that's kind of like where we're at right now.
Okay.
So, but that's two vastly different things that have nothing to do with the collector's edition. But you know, there are those options out there. I do feel that you know there are some collector's editions coming out next year, like the Harry Potter one. I was kind of thinking about it, like, ooh, the Harry Potter one has a book where you have a little thing, the wand kind of float. So you get a wand and you get a thing that makes the wand float. That looked cool,
I heard
right?
it's not that cool.
Exactly. That was what I was gonna say. Like, if I would have not seen previous videos of it or people like talking about it, I probably would have bought it and probably would have regretted it. But now I can look at it and be like, yo, like I've seen some people really tear it down. They saved me money because I'm not. This was another $300 one.
Yeah. I'm looking at it right now.
So life size book. I thought this would have been cool from like at the front of the house, or not like outside, but like like a desk area with like a light. I'm like, oh, this would have looked really cool and all that. But this one comes with the full game still case, just the collector's edition box, and this one thing, and then digital. This to me, like, I was like, oh, that floating wand thing has to really sell it because to me, this isn't a fair value. Like, there's
Yeah, for
not enough
$300.
digital content to validate this.
Or even physical content, like you're not getting stickers or pins or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like those little things add up when it comes to collector's editions. That's why you get
They
collector's
do.
editions. The skins and stuff and all that stuff are always cool, and you know what I mean. I get why they put them in, but people buy collectors because they want something physical. Like
But
that's the
did you
main
know?
point of them.
Wait, but did you notice something? All the collector's editions had a few things in common: collector's art book and soundtrack.
Yep,
Where are they in here?
they're not in there,
They won't even give you the digital soundtrack.
but
With this,
you do get 72 hours of early access.
I mean, that might be cool.
I don't know if that's worth
Yeah.
paying for, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I said, all this is cool, but is this collector's edition? Like, do I get this if I just go deluxe? I get these three, so maybe not. So you would basically buy the collector's edition to play the game 3 days early.
Yep.
So that's unique. I will give them that, but I shouldn't need to pay for that if I already got some other stuff. Like it hurts. That's what it is. $300 hurts for like this, and then knowing that it's not good. I think that's what hurts.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't a really big thing. You know that it's like I heard like it goes like centimeters. It doesn't even go as high as it's trying to show it. Like it's really, really close to the
It's
book.
like really low, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but this is like
And
one
then
of those things. It's like, okay, but this is a really big. This is supposed to be a really big game, you know, and it's just like, yeah, like
At the
I
same
it,
time, too, though, this is also another um, WB product,
it is. We might be
which I'm
finding a
which
correlation.
which I'm not gonna like bash them in general for it because they have come out with cool ones. Because I think the Mortal Kombat one was dope, right? The 11
Almost all the Mortal Kombat ones are really nice.
and like the old Batman Arkham ones were pretty good at the time too, right?
Yeah, because even like I said, like even the Batman one for Arkham Knight, was a really big black statue. Even though that it was light as well, it actually had lights. You actually can change out the battery. There's actually the switch was actually hidden within the statue itself. So there was a lot of cool stuff about it. Um, and that's what we talk about gimmicks. Like, does the statue have a gimmick, or is it just there? It
Right.
was so in my aspect, those are really nice. Oh, hey, now that we're talking about, see, look, this to kind of show you. So this is the collector's edition for Assassin's Creed. This is $150. So it's the cheapest of all the ones that we've seen. And this one comes with the figure, comes with the game, digital content, steel book, map. It's probably the roll map, Brouch, and I think physical soundtrack.
That's cool.
That'd be interesting. But this is $150. This is kind of like why I wish I could expect more collector's editions where it's okay to make this bet. Like
Yeah.
this is easier, a little bit easier to buy. Kind of stuff, but whatever. This is GameStop exclusive, so that means that this might be like a very different statue than the one that Ubisoft sold. The one I got was actually from Ubisoft.
The what is it? What is your as you look up this? What is your feeling on collector's editions that don't come with the game?
What's the point?
Yeah, I'm the same way.
100%. I think it's, and I've seen them a lot, and I never buy them. If the
Mhm.
game doesn't come included, the value's gone. Like I think
Yeah,
it literally, it's like the rug swept underneath your legs. No
and like hits
game.
your soul, dude. It's like no game. Oh well, I'm not gonna buy it then. Like,
Yeah, yeah. It's just kind of like saying like, hey, let's say let's take Pokemon example. If I got the collector this box, and it was like, oh, we're gonna give you 5 rares, whatever they are for coming future. You're gonna get all this other downloadable content for the game, but they don't give you the game. Then it's like, well,
yeah,
what's the point? Same thing. If this was, I mean, I probably make the same argument if they did give you the game, but both games were on the same cartridge. Like that
yeah,
defeats the purpose insanely right at that point. At least now, like I can open up Scarlet, get one of the starters and port them over to Pokemon Home. Like, but it's really hard. Like without Pokemon Home, then I wouldn't be able to do that. Like I couldn't really do it with myself. Okay, it looks like the statue's the same. So I think it maybe just GameStop. That's just showing it off. Let me do this.
maybe it's not available like on Amazon or anything like that.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, so it looks a little bit lighter color, but yeah, same price, blah blah blah. So really decent. I'm looking forward to it. But the collector's edition before this one, this is another thing I want to say before we sign off today. I will not pay $800 for a collector's edition unless it's literally the console and some other stuff.
Right,
But I will not pay $800 if there's not something that I can use, something that is valuable, and something that like has transit value, like it's not meant for the game kind of value. That's
right.
probably the only time that I would probably like be okay with that. Outside of that, no, it'd be insane to do stuff like that. And I closed it, but the one of the collector's editions for Assassin's Creed, the last one, Valhalla, did have one like that, and it was just super expensive. I'm like, I can't. I love Assassin's Creed. I'm not doing it. You're
Yeah,
not getting that much money out of me. I'll buy the regular version. But you're not. I'm not paying you $800. That's insane.
yeah. It's like when it came out at the time, it was the Destiny 2, the Witch Queen one,
Mhm.
and that one was really cool because like it came with since the characters the enemies actually had like ghosts and stuff like that. You got to get that ghost and stuff like that, and it had lights and everything, and it was super cool. And that one, since they know like it's available on everything and you can kind of pre-order the game before the collectors came out, they gave you the option to buy with the game or without the game, which I thought was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And because like, cool, we're giving you the option of it. And I was like, that's smart. Like that's what you should do.
Yeah, it looked like they already took it off the market.
Yeah. I was even trying to look for it on oh my god, what's it called, on their actual store, but I think they took it off.
Yeah. But so that kind of just kind of wraps up my point, right? It's just like there are some. Again, it's always if you have the availability, see if you can find a YouTube video. Go ahead and order it, but find a YouTube video of somebody opening it and then make a decision from there. Like I will say this: if you really want something, you're on the edge of it, probably get it. And you could always change your mind before they actually ship it to you. Like canceling is free. It's like you would cancel anything that you pre-order or whatever.
Yeah.
But my thing when it comes to collectors has always kind of been a hassle. Like that's probably like the only thing. It's just like there's some that I really appreciated, and there's some that I was like, I really did like the game, but the collector's edition, like it didn't make it any more special. There were some, and one thing I do hate is when collector's editions come with small pieces.
Okay.
And I have to keep track of that. It is the most annoying thing, especially me who's moved a few times. It is very hard to keep track of all those little things, from like a wing or a character that's like smaller than your pinky nail, or just something that's like they didn't think about actually having to store it all. They just made it to where it just displays.
Right.
It's annoying. I just had to say that before we kind of kill that out. Those are super, super annoying.
So number one thing, well, one thing, super tiny small things, and always include your games. Like definitely.
Please, at least make me feel better about the purchase. I think that's the thing. It's just like, I feel like for some companies, they take their fans for granted based on the collector's edition. Like they just know
Hmm.
they could sell it because it's like FOMO. We'll have like 1,000 copies or whatever. So they'll sell it and not think anything about it. Especially like the ones that don't show you what's in the collector's edition. They just say
Oh
they're the
no,
collector's
yeah.
edition. I think those are pretty bad. I really can't, you know, subscribe to that. And I think there's some of them I just said no. You know, it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, I can't do it. But I think the reason why how I justify it mostly, if anything, is that since I don't buy a lot of games, and the games that I do buy day one are actually games I care about. It makes sense for me to get a collector's edition. But I don't necessarily recommend them. If I
Right.
have to tell somebody to say, "Hey, do you recommend me getting that?" No, it doesn't matter what it is. Like any of the ones I showed today, I like them because that's my thing, but I will not recommend them for anybody. I love the Spider-Man one. The Spider-Man one was dope. Still don't recommend it. It's like it's just not something you don't need it 100%. And like you said, if you're having a hard time getting stuff, I'd rather you take that extra money and save it to get all the consoles than I will say ever to buy like collector's editions.
And also make sure you have the space if you're gonna get the collector's edition, because getting
100%.
the getting the collector's edition and then unfortunately not being able to display the item that you get and stuff like that kind of defeats the purpose of it.
Like you know how hard it is to display 72 amiibos for just Super Smash Brothers alone? It's ridiculous. Like, and you have to come up with some creative ways.
I'm so glad I stayed
Um,
away from those.
yeah, they were a drug, and it's because they were a cheap drug. That's what
Yep.
really what happened. But it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, like you said, you do need to have space for them. Some of them are bigger than what you think they are. The God of War one was pretty decent size. The one before this one was a pretty decent size. Some of them don't fit in my glass containers at all.
Hmm.
Because some of the Assassin's Creed ones are just way too tall. Like they just can't actually fit in that space. And
Yeah.
we're talking about like a 16-inch space, and some of them just don't fit. period. And we had to like get new shelving to like fit the other ones and stuff like that. So as someone who's already had to try to solve those problems, you don't need those problems. I'm crazy. Do as I say, not what I do, is what I'm trying to say.
Same here. As a person who's bought a lot of anime figures and stuff like that, it's just
Especially anime
be
figures
aware.
too. Anime
Be aware.
figures. Oh, I haven't really gotten to that at all when it comes to anime figures and stuff. But that too, Like it's just that's a lot. That's a lot of money though. Anime figures are way too expensive.
Depending, you can really find good price ones. You just got to look around.
But
That's the
some like
problem.
yeah, but some decent ones are like really expensive. Like when you see something like for $200 to $400, and it's just that, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, the face is closed, but that's a lot of money. I've seen some very expensive, like the really good ones are just stupid.
Yeah.
It's like
I
and
had
this
a
is coming
couple.
from a guy who collects Gundam, so it's just
Yeah, I definitely had a couple. My Uta from Tokyo Ghoul one was freaking top notch, expensive, but man, God, the detail now was so good.
yeah. I think when it comes to, like the anime figures, like I have to really love it to
Yeah.
get a very expensive one, and I haven't found one yet because there are some that are really nice, and I can't buy them all, so I'm very restrictive on buying them at all. I just like no, I can't do it. I think the only
Uh,
non-gaming one I bought was Mercy from Overwatch, and
okay.
that's only because I got it for super cheap, and it looks really nice. But I got it for like dirt cheap from a game. Like, good thing about going to GameStop, sometimes collector's editions or figures might just be like around for years to come, and they have to sell it. Right now, they're doing 50% off of everything. So it's like some of
Nice.
the stuff it just like is a lot cheaper, and I can justify it then. But when
Right.
they come out, like what I think it was like 160 or whatever when it came out, I'm like, no, I don't need it that
Like,
badly. I don't care about the character that much. It's just some of them just look like really dope things. But that's kind of I mean, I can really go on a little bit more about this kind of topic because I mean, I just want to show some examples and have a conversation starting about this, and I was going to start about it sooner or later because yeah, this is the year where a lot of this stuff comes out. There's still some more coming out, and next year is definitely going to have some more. And hopefully what I said today, some of y'all people take it to heart. Like, you don't need this stuff. You don't need the stress. You don't need my stress. You're more than willing to take it. And if you're going to do it, do it for the things that you like, for the game that you like, that you really want to kind of show some appreciation for. But you will be able to live without it. Buyer for more sucks more than FOMO. I'll tell you
yeah,
that firsthand.
definitely.
So with that today, I know we started a little bit earlier, but hopefully y'all were able to join around this time, and we really do appreciate it. This is going to be one of our shorter episodes going live today, but schedules are a little bit weird, so we're going to have to cut out a little bit early. So here's one of your nice live hour shows, and we do hopefully appreciate you being here. If you had any comments on anything that we talked about, please say them in the comments. But if you love what you saw today, like the video, subscribe to the channel for more content. And if you notice, we've kind of been posting some shorts that kind of help out with some of the topics that we talk about. So if you haven't already, check out our shorts. Some of them actually tend to do better. Almost all of them have done better than the actual videos. But shorts are just a new thing that's coming out. So we're trying to just expand a little bit, work on some stuff. And we do want your opinions on the topics that we discuss. If you have a topic in mind that you really want us to kind of talk about and enjoy, that you feel like is a really good topic, please say those in the comments down below. With that being said, my name is DuShaun Williams. This is my co-host Christopher Moncada. Thank you for watching us today, and we'll see you next week. Maybe next week is Black Friday. I might be too tired, but let's just say, well, we'll still have a
We'll
show no matter what.
celebrate
And you
it.
might not be live. I will say that might not be live because I will be Black Friday shopping. And
And stay gaming.
yeah, stay gaming.